Right. Have to see if anybody comes. Right, apparently I'm back. That's good. I have no idea what just happened. You will be unsurprised to hear. I've just reminded myself why I shoot all the rocks. Alright, sorry about that. Just, I better just pop that link back up into the, into Discord. Right. Well, the problem is I don't know exactly at what moment I dropped out. Okay, there's a little bit of a delay, so hopefully it will catch up and we'll get back on. If you guys could let me know that I'm actually visible, that would be good. Unfortunately, we are gonna have to go back to the original rocks, which were roughly 55 plus 180, 135, 235 should be about our direction. So, live over on Twitch, you can see me. That's good. There we go. That's our first real technical difficulty, which I have absolutely no idea on. So, as ever in Scotland, I'm going to just blame the weather. It's got a bit gusty outside. Okay, that's cool. I think right before then, so I checked those couple of rocks over there, nothing great there. So then I was able to just use the fact that I knew I was on a heading of 55 degrees on my compass to know that if I head back 235, I'm going to get to the same spot. Need to shake my head very vigorously. That's about as vigorously as I'm going to manage for you, Silas, so I'm going to warn you. It's proof it's not a video. Yeah. So what I am going to do is, because this is a fairly chunky rock, I'm going to try out my mining gadgets. Because I enjoy a little bit of experimentation. And this is another reason that the aerial backpack is really good, because it will fit a couple of mining gadgets. And what I would recommend you do is, if you carry multiple mining gadgets, carry them in a backpack. Don't put them in the inventory of your ship, because if you had 30k like I did, so if I'd stuck these mining gadgets into my ship at the start, they'd be gone, because they would have 30k'd with the ship, and 30k protection isn't being spot on at the moment. So yeah, it's best to keep them on your person, because that will persist through a 30k. So just in case you haven't seen these before, all you have to do is we need to try and get this number, the waveform accuracy, up above 90% for this to take effect. And what I find is, I know that there's a whole mini game to do with like reading the wave sign, but what I tend to do is just slowly drag them to each side until I see the best number I'm able to get into a range. So there we go, into the 80s. Yeah, 82%. It's going to be the best one on that one. And we've got these total of 3. So the best we saw there was 84, which isn't going to be good enough. So you can just click detach there. It will go back into your hand because the location that you put these on the rock does matter. So we have to try a couple of spots. Not sure why it was giving me moody red lighting for a second there. I'm a little bit worried at the start that that number was incredibly low at 3% as we stuck it on, so I doubt that this spot is going to be the one. What I'm wondering from like a on ops in particular is whether we could give these gadgets to our scouts and have them place mining gadgets on the rocks that they find. So when they find a cluster, they could get some gadgets on the go. And then not only would it make the initial breaks easier for the mining crews, I'm not even so worried about that because initial breaks tend to be quite easy if you're multi-crew mining. It's more just about like being able to visually identify which are the good rocks that the scouts assessed. So they don't need to sort of point them out to you, because once you get it over the 90%, you can click activate. And then actually that green light. So if we just imagine, you know, obviously that this is a bigger quant field than 2 rocks. If it's like a 10 rock field, then we could just, you know, but you've got 2 rocks that are viable for a mole out of that group. Then you could just, you know, very easily identify these rocks with a couple of green flashing lights on them. Which is the point where I think it's quite interesting. So I did some experimentation, and I don't believe that 1 bore max is going to be enough for a rock of this size. So I'm just going to try 2 with it. We're going to try cracking it with the prospector. If we don't get anywhere, then we're going to try and slap another one on. Yes and no, Ara. Like there's 17k the ball maxes. I mean, typically I try to mine things which are going to at least be 250,000. And I think I personally feel that in that context, you know, 17k isn't that bad if it makes things quicker. And I know, for example, like I talk to people and basically like they are just, you know, I know I enjoy Surge Stampede, but like sometimes you do run into explosive issues when it comes to Surge Stampede. It can have the effect of leaving you very, very dead. At which point you've probably not got anything. So yeah, I'm keen to try out a method that doesn't involve that risk, that level of risk. It looks like that is going to be as good as we're going to get it. 82. Let's hope the last one. Ah, that's good. Yeah, I think definitely it'll be better at night, but I think even in the day, you'd probably from the cockpit or at least the mining laser of a mole notice that. let's go and take a look at what it looks like from up in the up actually in the ship. Yeah, the one thing, so apparently technically these mining gadgets are recoverable, which I did try out when they first came in, but all I can say is it very much, and Lion's Mane I know is a big rugby fan, and I just remember seeing like this clip from a rugby game where like one of the guys in the scrum lost his contact lens, and then all these massive guys like sort of all helping him find his contact lens, which had just fallen out. So yeah, I think from the looks of it, I mean, obviously it's at night, so we're at a big advantage here. But let's just say you were just coming into this, you'd instantly just see which of these two rocks you're meant to be here for. I just had a slight moment of paranoia though that I'd managed to slap the two gadgets onto the wrong rock. That would have been good. So yeah, let's just see. So before we apply any of our Lancet laser to it, we've already got the resistance down to 0.03. So let's just see, because this is a 7.3k mass rock. Well, it might be a bit slow going, but can we get enough juice into it? I would say that's looking to climb. That's a really good point, Tatsu. You know, sometimes when you say something and you think somebody's considered it, I hadn't even considered dropping flares. Not even slightly. And you're right, that would be a lot cheaper. And less of a pain. We'll definitely try that. I'm going to credit you when that comes up as an idea I propose to people. But there we go, like that is... And I'd nearly slipped into the green there and said that we'd done it. And then it decided to just edge off the green. Troll me a little bit. But there, we're able to get enough power. This might take a little bit of coercion. Hopefully I'm not going to move and it's just going to slowly go up. It's clipping into the green. I might drop a brand on it if it doesn't fully do it. I looked away for a second and then it started getting perilously into the green. One of the things you can do is just roll back on the power a little bit too early. Get caught by one of those moments where it's just edged up into the green, then you take the power off. Bit too quick. Right. Or a bit too slow. I was sounding all confident there, wasn't I? That was my first mistake. His confidence was his first mistake. I'm going to try this with a little brand this time, though. Will just get us that ultra stable experience. Right, remember not to look too far away. So yeah, potentially less annoying as well. And this is the one thing I find though, like some people do actually just really enjoy these little bits of gameplay. Like there is something about, you know, hopping out of the ship, going up to these massive rocks. Actually, you know, can be kind of satisfying in a way to get that little mini game of like getting the gadgets to all line up. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out as well. As ever, while streaming, we're looking after Krug. So he was fast asleep, but I can hear him traipsing around now. It would be very much in his character for me to be just about cracking a quant rock. And him to then do something which diverted my attention. Oh, a little bit concerning that I've lost the brand there. So this is definitely a much slower way to break Quantanium. And it definitely requires greater investment, like I'm using more modules. And I'm definitely using modules, and I've dropped those, so I've dropped 34k basically into cracking this, but it could just be a, you know, it's a less stressful way than Surge Stampede to crack big rocks. I am assured it will eventually crack. So I'm just gonna have one of those slight tongue hanging out the corner of my mouth moments while I just get this to finish off. Part of the reason I'm looking at this as well though is because there has been another change with there's been another change with 3.18, which does just make me think about reviewing builds. And that's the fact that the modules are persisting when whenever you lose your ship for whatever reason, the modules are now actually persisting when you claim it back. And one of the things which put me off the like more expensive permanent modules was that you would lose them whenever you lost your ship. So I never relied that much on the permanent ones. But because they're now persisting, I think it's definitely worth sort of going back and having another look at all the permanent modules, see if any of them are worth considering over. And the downside to Surge Stampede is that particularly if you're on a prospector, that's taking up all of your module slots. So I've only had that one piece of Quantanium so far. We've got one piece which is 50%, but that's quite a good sign. The worst thing you can get is, particularly if you're doing like I'm doing, like a 15% piece, a rock, the worst thing you can get really is your quant being really messy and like spreading across the whole rock. Instead we got one piece at 67, one piece at close to 50. I think that is all of them scanned. So yeah, so that should be all of the Q in this rock. So if we get a bit lucky, with this we might be able to get a decent amount in our prospector. Yeah, there's one which increases your green zone. I think it's like Optimax or something like that, isn't it? Oh, cheers, Voss. Yeah, it can be a little bit of a grind. I mean, to be absolutely honest, I'm a bit late on I struggled with making a video this week just because my real working life is pretty to the wall at the moment. It's just what I do. The 5th of April is a big day. So yeah. What I typically do is I typically put one night a week aside to make a video. And I just found for the last sort of week, I've been coming home and hitting the wall of tiredness and falling asleep on the sofa with my dog. So yeah, it's just been a little bit tricky. I'm going to try and get something out for this weekend because I've got a small good video. I think I'm going to cover some of the workarounds to some of the bugs with mining and salvaging, just to try and help people out a little bit. That's it. It's the riggers. I need to consult my guide actually, because I need to consult my own guide, because I did do a video on what all the mining gadgets were and what they did. And I do think for solo mining, I think they'll be interesting. And also I think going into 3.19, they've said they're gonna completely rework everything. But like, I know a lot of people have been quite concerned about what that means for like solo mining. I mean, I kind of it really remains to be seen, because like Thorsten obviously was saying, you know, he was basically hinting at there will be rocks you can't break on your own. Now, one thing I would point out is the CIG, some of the devs at CIG already thought there were rocks that you couldn't break on your own. And they were wrong. Like, because there aren't any rocks you can't break on your own. So, but I think with the purpose of these changes is there will be things that require multi-crew mining, and that the mole will be a lot better at doing multi-crew mining. A lot of people who fly prospectors are pretty sad about that change, understandably. But what they said with the prospector was that when you put 2 prospectors on a rock, it's going to greatly increase the instability of that. And I think that's then not necessarily going to be the death of multi-prospector mining, but maybe multi-prospectors are going to have to bring along things like mining gadgets or specific modules catering to offset that resistance. And the advantage to the mole will then become that it doesn't have to give up its module slots just to counter the resistance. The instability, sorry. So it would still have access to, you know, other types of modules. Like, there are some very interesting modules like the XTR XLs, which massively improve your hoovering speed. Right, so sorry, just also remembering what I'm doing. I'm just going to give every rock that I've just broken a scan, just so I understand that there were 4 100% Quantanium pieces. It's good, but I just like to, because you don't want to be starting the timer and then trying to work out which pieces you want to pick up in a prospector. I look nothing like you thought I would, the mage. I'm going to choose that was a compliment. That's what I'm going to choose to believe. You make your own reality. But I am aware due to the evil of cigarettes that I probably sound about 20 years older than I actually am. And also because of all the constant references to spreadsheets. That's just because I like maths, I'll be honest. Sean, there's a link to our Discord just in the video description. We are an everything org. I do love mining, and there is plenty of mining to be had. But we also have groups for combat, have groups for medical gameplay, logistics. Basically, you name it, and it isn't piracy, and we do it. And that is largely because of the difficulties of running an industrially minded org and pirating. Like, nothing against pirates, and they are more than welcome to also come and just hang out in our community section. Of course, because I really enjoy talking to all kinds of people from across SC. The miners will say that we're a mining org with support. The combat guys will say that, you know, we're a combat organization with a strong cash flow. Ravnak will point out that we are in fact doing all of these other various things just to facilitate his ambitions to be the Hermes of the Star Citizen universe. Multifaceted, that's what we are. Right, that was all of the 100% quant pieces. So now we can start thinking about taking some of the not so good. We got a 30.6% piece there, but that one's better, 37%. We'll probably be able to fit all of the quant out of this rock. Which, you know, it was by no means a perfect rock, but at the same time, 200k is not to be sniffed at. Thoughts on JOEM? Jome? I'm really sure. I'm really sorry, Slim. I'm not 100% sure what that is. So my thoughts are incomplete on that subject. Oh yeah, and of course we do have a racing team as well. Which really, yeah, let's face it, that is the main purpose of the org. Funding the racing team. Which has put on some amazing events. So, I'm just... I'll be honest, Slim, it's been a long time since somebody got me with a good your mum joke. So I'm gonna give that a genuine laugh. That got me. Right, let's just find a dog leg. Always dog leg. If you don't have time to dog leg, you stayed too long. So yeah, I'm happy to go through my current. So the modules I used for that were a Surge, a Brant, and an FLTR XL. But I think the FLTR is kind of essential on Prospector builds, because you get really hurt by any sort of gram of inert material that you pick up. what I'm interested to maybe look into. I find it very hard. I find it very hard to consider dropping the Surge, because Surge, it's not that, like, you know, if I could, considering I could get that rock to the green zone, I didn't need the Surge. But it would have taken a long time to get to the green zone, if you get what I mean. So, like, the Surge really does save your, like, credits per hour rate. I was using a Brant because of the big reduction to instability and resistance, but I am wondering whether there's potentially another permanent module which could fill that gap, and maybe, you know, particularly if there's one, I need to research a little bit, if there's one which creates a bigger green zone or offers a really good buff to to instability. Because the Brant is mostly about getting the instability down. Yeah, that is right, Sean. The ability to switch over modules and mining heads is gonna make everything really interesting. But then that's also going to be accompanied by, I mean, what we might as well call the mining refactor. Like, it's a complete change to everything to do with mining. So gonna have to take a week off work and remake all my guides, I think, but also, like, not only remake all the guides, but also, you know, literally, like, work everything out from scratch. But I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, I think it's really cool that mining's gonna get some love. Mining's already got a lot of love, but there is something to be said for, like, you know, making it not just go to Lyria, crack Quant Rock. Know what I mean? Like, it could be way more interesting than that. The only concern I've got is that maybe the thing which makes it really interesting is actually going to be how mining fits into a wider game economy. And, you know, when you need X resources to build a base, you need X resources to make a upgraded laser or upgraded weapons, etc. I'm sorry, Zymus. I do not know when 318.1 is going to drop. I have no inside lines, no inside information. I would hope soon. Somebody can probably tell me, because probably people keep an eye on Spectrum more than I do. I don't tend to go there very much. I did see something in general chat today on a server I was on about, like, they warned that 318.2 is going to be on the PTU before 318.1 is live. That is as much information as I have, and I stress that it was secondhand in global chat, you know. So take with a pinch of salt, but maybe somebody who has Spectrum on their hotbar could go and tell me if I've just spouted a load of secondhand bullshit. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting the SRV is coming lines. Keep forgetting the SRV is going to be a thing with 319. And there's all these different applications for it, but you know the one which I'm looking forward to the most, right? Getting a getting a reclaimer out of a major landing zone without taking up half a gaming session. That's my top priority for the SRV. Righto, so yeah, no fixed date for either, but expect to see 0.2 on the PTU before 0.1. Does anybody know what 0.2 is? Is that a hint that 319 might be delayed and they need another patch for Invictus? Well, I need to, I think I need to put on my lights. It's getting darker outside and the ASOP terminals are turning me, they're making me look like a Simpsons version of my character. Yeah, that's right, Lions. You basically have to, if you're crewing on a reclaimer, you don't just have to bring crews because you're going to be out for a long time. You have to bring it for the in-flight journey, just getting out of atmosphere. Yeah, getting your 890 jump out of Atmo. Are absolutely right. Something like that. Getting an 890 jump out of Atmo is also not fun. Still more fun than getting a Redeemer out. A Reclaimer. Reclaimer, I keep on saying Redeemer. You knew what I meant though, I'm sure. One of the things I don't get right in my drop downs, my Hornet seems to be seems to constantly come up in my my refinery work orders. So because we don't know when 318 spot 1 is, we're gonna exclusively use Ferrin Exchange for any mining runs. A little bit more expensive, but 10 and a bit hours. Means sometime tomorrow I can go and run these. No, that's cool. That's cool, Cole. I'm happy to take Board Gamer as a source. I mean, that guy reads everything they put out. I think it was one of Astropub's things that, you know, you got to remember that gamers don't like reading. And I was just like, yeah, that's right. Wait a minute, I don't like reading. So. Yeah, I might have to catch up on this whole thing though, because I don't understand what spot 2 is. Maybe it's just... Yeah, maybe 0.2 is just more fixes and getting through more of the known issues because... Sorry, I'm going to just quickly stick this light on. There we go, make myself slightly less orange. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's a case of like, because right now, a whole bunch of people just can't even get in the game, which it's not a good look, is it? Let's face it. Oh no, sorry, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, you're wrong. Great name. That is a great name to trip up somebody streaming though. I love reading books. Books are great. What I'm not such a fan of is... I think it's just because I do a lot of it in my day job, like reading through articles on the internet. It's not my #1 priority when I get home. That's the type of reading I'm not a fan of. So I'm not sure if replacing that brand module is going to trick the game into thinking I deserve a new one. But yeah, not knocking books, just knocking reading stuff on a website. But yeah, so I wonder if point 2 is just basically more of the same as point 1, like get point 1 out as soon as they can so that they can deal with these 40,004 errors or whatever the newest one is. And then, you know, point 2 can maybe iron out some more glitches and more glitches. But yeah, this is the thing I find about, you know, when people get angry about audiobooks. I'm like, no, I do still read books. Like, still read books, but I also like audiobooks. And like, but that's not reading. It's like, no, it's not reading. But I'm not listening to audiobooks like at times when I could read a book. Like, it'd be a bit weird being down the gym, doing some weights. I don't know. Maybe Dwayne the Rock Johnson does it like that, but I'm not like reading books and then like curling biceps with the other hand, like, or walking to work might get a bit dangerous if I sort of have a book up in front of my face. $40,014. That's the nightmare error. So all the other errors sucked, but like at least you could still play Arena Commander or Star Marine, that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's just the way it is at the moment, isn't it, Lions? There's always something to be done. I like to try and make a little bit of time for some things, though. Right. Read chat more intently once I found the QT point, which of course I think I just traveled 330 degrees to find rather than 30. Got a scar on my knee from an accident based around reading a book while riding a bike. That's great. But you should definitely say that scar to your knee is because you took an arrow to the knee. That's what that should be going forward. Just saying. Ravnak's going to start another thread over on Discord, isn't he? We've already got the Architecture Appreciation Society. I see, thanks to Sly. I don't think Blunder expected to start such a deep conversation on architecture. And in fact, was just like, please take this to a thread. Right. I am just going to try and get some dinner ordered while we're in QT. This is my type of cooking. My wife Ali suggested that I got dinner ready while she was out. I suggested I streamed and ordered sushi. And thankfully she agreed. So. Square buildings, best buildings. Please don't turn the stream chat into architecture review, because I cannot keep up with that, frankly. Go with the age-old use Deliveroo to just reorder things you've ordered before approach. That should work. And then we can carry on mining. Once they take our money, that is. That's a key thing. And I think delivery, I think my phone is going to get annoyed at the fact that I'm wearing a hat. There we go. Perfect. Right, so let's head back down to Lyria. You can rent a prospector at any of the refinery decks. But the downside to renting a prospector is you can't change the mining laser. So yeah, refinery stations are like Arc L1, Her L1. I think it's all the L1s and the L2s now have a refinery where you can, but it's, you have to go literally to the refinery deck itself using the internal elevators, and then it's the terminals are in the back of the mining shop. Alright, so 3720 is gems. Let's just sketch through those. And unfortunately we got no instant 3400s or higher. But yeah, the downsides with the rental prospectors is they won't crack very much. Yes, Sebas, I was wondering the same thing. Like, if we can change out parts in 319, what is going to stop you upgrading the parts on a rental? I hate to admit it, Lions, but literally, I would usually go with Kenji Sushi, but Bentoya was easier in a order quick situation. I got lured in by the fact that they will have my sushi with me 15 minutes earlier than Kenji will manage. But Kenji is better. Unless a advertising rep potentially offering me a sponsorship from Bentoya happens to be here, in which case Bentoya for life. But I would get so fat. And now we've got Andrew chucking in beers as well into the mix. No, I must resist drinking. There will be enough of that at Bar Citizen. Which is now just over a week away. Yeah, so that is correct. They said when they were talking about that they had thought about you know, what's to stop me stopping at a rest stop or something and some joker coming along and nicking all the guns off my ship. So I think sort of the way they're handling that is some sort of like unlock button that you would have to press to, you know, allow if you're not soft deathed, allow your stuff to be changed out. So then the simple way that they could maintain the status quo with rental ships is just, you know, that button is locked on a rental and you can't do that. We're off to the Manchester Bar Citizen, which, to be fair, you know, apparently Chris is in Britannia now. I don't expect Chris to be coming out. to be honest. And I only worry, I've got this like mild social anxiety that, you know, if John Crew is there, that and I get a few drinks in me, that basically he'll have me removed by security as I try and chew his ear off about like why I need an Argo carrier in glorious orange. Like, you know, that would be my dream ship. An Argo carrier with like pads for 4 moles, and the ship's basically a refinery. That would be perfect for me. We'll have to. That's another one down to sushi. We'll have to have a bit of an agreement ahead of the next stream. Take a little vote as to what we're ordering tonight. If I'm gonna leave you wanting to get involved. Oh, nice, Harold. Oh, it'd be good to see you, mate. Right. I've just heard a slight noise, which indicates to me that I need to go and check on Krug, because he's been too quiet too long. I do need to do my duties in that regard, so I will be back in just 1 minute once I make sure that he's not like getting into my backpack or something. Right, no, Krug is alright. He was just communicating to me that he's annoyed at having been left on his own. Like the fact that he knows he usually comes and sits by me. Wait, are Bentoya and Kenji the same people? They might be. In which case, yes, nice. But yeah, that's great, Harold. We'll see you there. Although I realised as I booked my train tickets today that it's Easter weekend, isn't it? There's only 2 reasons I realise what particular holiday it is, and that's, you know, how many free days off am I getting, and why is the cost of transport astronomical? For the first time, I regretted not having a car in quite some time. Because, yeah, being able to, like, Manchester's not even that far a drive from Edinburgh, but the price they are charging for trains, oh, it is eye-watering. Well, I do have to say, going back a little bit, that Los Angeles Bar Citizen does sound a little bit more glamorous. Not knocking Manchester. I like Manchester. But, you know, I've been to Manchester before, whereas I haven't been to LA. Yeah, Skelly, I am out earning my pennies. Unfortunately, pennies is what it is, but that's largely because I'm apparently terrible at scanning and reading chat. There we go, 3,400. Always like when I'm coming into... So I've found one that I'm going towards, but it's always worth still, like, still looking around you at what you can see as you come in. It's no harm. Just because you've got one to look at doesn't mean you can't look at the rest. Always helps if you take off your cruise control as well. Pro tip. Yeah, this is the thing. I go through like peaks and troughs with mining. I don't seem to be able to to just mine a little bit. It's either sort of full on, or I drop off. Unfortunately, those are some bad rocks. But what I have discovered is that mining it's one of those things which you can do in Star Citizen, which is like a little bit easier while you're also just chilling out, having a chat. So it's really good for that. Salvaging is the other one of those. Okay, shoot. Yeah, why do I shoot the rocks? Shooting the rocks. You know when sometimes you get unscannables, and okay, if you happen to be a like game developer or coder or something, like I'm sorry for how I'm about to put it, but like just bear in mind like myself and probably most other people aren't, so it's going to be very simplified. It's basically like when you can't scan the rocks, they're pretty much desyncing with the server. So the server's not keeping up with what you're seeing. And shooting the rocks helps to basically sync them up. So you don't really need to know the why, as you can tell, because I don't really know the why. But shoot the rocks and they tend to scan. Don't shoot the rocks, and half the time you find yourself then having to come back out of scanning mode and shoot the rocks. I prefer the version which is shooting the rocks scares them, and then they give up their informational secrets. But I was trying to keep the to give the actual reason, but I did an appalling job of explaining that, which has led me to believe that I probably shouldn't try. So yeah, just if you get unscannables, shoot them, then try. Or do as I do and just shoot all the rocks, because you waste more time just, you know, coming back out and doing it after you realise that they haven't scanned. Oh, Mr. Miyagi. There are some great fast food like delivery like restaurant names out there in the world. My favorite fish and chip shop down south where I used to live, it was called the Codfather. That was a good one. And I have to say, this was something which came out of the when I made that video on the variants of ships. I put the idea of like a food truck as one of the potentials for like a where we could see variants, and some of the ideas for food-based ship variants were just brilliant. I particularly liked the Cutter Butter, like a food truck variant of the Drake Cutter. The Drake Cutter Butter. Yeah, I'd imagine there are quite a few Codfathers. But this one was the best. Because it was in Devon and it was next to the sea. Alright, this stage of the stream is going to be called Can we get another Quant Rock before my wife gets home? Which is a game I frequently play. It's in a series along with Can I Get Another Quant Rock Before My Wife Puts Dinner on the Table? Or, you know, because this isn't a marriage where I don't cook. Can I get a Quant Rock before I'm told I have to start cooking? But one of the problems with mining is the moment you start rushing it is the moment mistakes happen. I'm not sure on my family show stream I'll say that one out loud, but that sounds like a very good chicken sandwich. I think there's too much chance of me slipping. Purposely, it's almost like they designed it like that. That'd be great. That'd be great on the channel. A Drake privateer, but it's a giant food court. Alright, that's another player. So we run away. We don't even wait to see who it is. We just run. We're in a prospector. We've got no business mixing with other players. This is one of the things I think we have to see in, like, as they bring in things like master modes. Like, don't wait to see who that chevron is. Start running immediately. Like when you're in a ship which can't deal with it. Now, every chance points towards that's like just another mole or prospector or something like that. But you just don't want to take those chances. Let's get round into the light as well. And not that I think it makes the slightest bit of difference, but I tend to have a good time at Loveridge Mineral Reserve. A good one. Yeah, it would be cool to see though the first Drake privateer owner who makes all of the shops on board their privateer burrito stands. Because who needs anything else? Maybe one milkshake concession and one ice cream concession. All the rest burritos. I'd be happy. One of the alternate techniques you can do to actually, yeah, rather than like flying around looking for quant like I tend to do, one you can do is basically just, you know, do like this, like every time just do one 360 scan, take a look around, take a look at any which are 3400 or above, and then if none of them are, just fly up, pick a new spot to go down at. Yeah, unfortunately my prospector is fully stock, so I've got two lasers, but they're distortion guns, like specifically non-lethal. Probably one of my favourite Scottish fast food names though was definitely the Bonnie Burrito. I've got a feeling that's those signatures we just passed over are going to be, yeah, individual rocks. But yeah, there are many things that Scotland does very well for food though, I have to say. Lots of good fish. There's a lot of good fish in Scotland. But personally, might get my door kicked in saying this, Personally, Southwest is best for fish and chips. So Lions is going to be in his car and on the way over to put me straight. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how mining evolves with the addition of new ships, with the changes in 319. Maybe we'll take a guess though when we actually see that new mining ship, like when it will go on concept sale. Like almost certainly that's going to be one which goes on concept before it turns up. I'm not expecting that as anything straight to flyable. I'm wondering if it's maybe the big announcement of IAE. I think that would probably be the best time to get it out. Okay, yeah, they're... Oh, don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong. Scotland is great for fish and chips. We can't derail into mining discussion when I've made spurious statements about fish and chips. Yeah, I would imagine to see that RSI miner at CitizenCon maybe, or IAE. It'll be interesting to see sort of if they go all out for CitizenCon this year with a return to in-person stuff. I was thinking about going to CitizenCon. I was giving it pretty hard thoughts, and I'd love to go to California. That sounds really cool. I would be very excited to go to a CitizenCon. But at the same time, I looked at the flights, and you know, I am not a flight snob, but if I'm gonna fly London to LA, I feel that economy might not be the best for my health. And like, then you do start getting into the realms of a very, very nice PC. Probably with enough left over for for whatever that large RSO miner costs. So yeah, might just have to put dreams of CitizenCon on hold, because a PC does seem like a slightly better investment than 2 weeks in California. My wife might not agree with that statement. Oh, I seem to like finding the 15% rocks today. As a general rule, I would not take this. But I'm conscious that Ali's going to be home any second now, and however much quant this is more than no quant. So that's the route I'm taking here. Shouldn't be any issues in the power to crack this rock. A friend Starstreams showed me a really cool thing he's built with he's built himself like a little controller, like a button box designed for controlling the mining laser for the rock. That is so cool. He's done it with like a really cool like matte metal finish, and it's almost enough to like get me interested in sort of Arduino boards, and talking to my brother about the idea of about how basically I had to ask my brother. He's a bit of a computer guy and very into sort of making stuff about like how it would be done. So yeah, might have to now start going down a rabbit hole of button boxes and all that sort of jazz. I'm conscious that that's potentially as much of a rabbit hole as buying JPEG starships in itself. Once you start getting into the realm of build your own electronics. So yeah, 70 out of, but that's exactly what I was sort of finding with like looking at the flights to LA as well. It's like, you know, it was already eye-wateringly expensive, and then it's just like, oh, and do you want to go business? Let's double that money. It's just like, whoa, yeah, no. No, I like doing this thing called eating. I like it to be more varied than pasta with a different tomato sauce on it. Right, so one reasonable piece, about 68%. Right. Yeah, Lee, I'm gonna have to fake knowing what my rig is. I know that I have a 2060 Ti maybe. Got 32 gig of RAM. At the time I bought it, the processor was the AMD equivalent one of the i7, but that was yeah, a couple of years ago now, about 2 years old. Have we got an awkward under the ground rock? Yes. Right, thank God that bit of underground rock was not actually significant. So we can just crack these 2 bits. So that's 574 mass, 512 mass. It was only a 5k mass, wasn't it? Yeah, this is the thing. Like, so I started. Ali went to sleep, and I watched a 2-hour video on like a guy building some button box with an Arduino Leonardo, and that just led down a rabbit hole. And I think I went to sleep at about 4 o'clock in the morning, watching something about some sort of like smart home thing using them, and it's just like, yeah, you could. You know when you find yourself at the start of something that could be really addictive, and very costly over the long run. That's how I felt. Watching those videos, I was just like, you know, this would be cool, but do I want to open this particular box? Yeah, I have watched some of that Warthog project. That thing is incredible. The one thing though is like, and no offense is intended, because I understand that Star Citizen is brings in a diverse audience of people who are into it for different reasons. And so like, I know, for example, like Lions is one of them. I know a lot of people are really into like the sim aspects of it, and the same with like games like DCS, like in it for the simulator experience. I personally though, I'm in it for a game. I don't mind when things are more arcadey. I don't mind when things are not realistic, if that sacrifice of realism makes way for good gameplay. like if it's just a better gameplay decision. So with that in mind, I watched a Warthog Project tour of the whole rig, the whole like setup, and then like the guy said something like, you know, now let's take this baby for a flight. And I was like, yeah, awesome, like I'm ready to watch you like play some DCS on this, let's go. And he sat down and he got it all kicked up and it looked amazing, and then he got out like the physical clipboard, and like the next like half hour or so of the video was him with his clipboard doing all of his pre-flight checks, not leaving the runway. I was just like, just fly the plane. Just fly the plane, please. And then him flying the plane was about 2 minutes at the end of that video, which is the bit I was in it for. I was just like, I'll watch that like immersive flight experience. But I suppose the true immersive flight experience is doing your pre-flight checks and making sure you've satisfied the clipboard gods. Like, 'cause that's the reality of flying planes, I guess. And while ranting away, just about managed to not screw up getting that rock. But to be fair, Sly, you did have me. You did have me. I didn't even skip ahead. I watched all the keyboard. Aha. You know, I was telling you about that bug a little while ago. The one that blew up all of our moles the other day. That I'm gonna actually make a video about this weekend. I just forgot it existed. So that right there was the that bug. And what I would recommend is going out to a safe distance. And like there, we're not getting SCU. And unfortunately, we're still getting lag. So, so yeah, that's where the visual element is just not lining up. What you can do is like start on something like this barrel piece, and at least if you blow that up, you're not destroying your quant. What I'm going to try doing is actually firing my mining laser in mining mode. Then I'm going to switch to extraction. I'm going to do another one. And we're going to see if there's anything worth picking up after we've blown up probably the two best pieces. No, this is not wanting to play ball. Let's try shutting down mining row. Yeah, one of the things to do is to always make sure, though, like particularly with this bug, that you're right. So there we've got it because we managed to actually get some extraction. Make sure you're at the max distance of your laser, because if I'd been right up on any of those rocks, like best case scenario, I would have blown my saddlebags off and been unable to pick up any quant. Worst case scenario, just the whole ship would have gone kaboom. At least when you're doing it from a far range, you don't have that issue. But we're probably left with a few SCU of quant now. But it's all right. This is part of Star Citizen, finding our way around the various bugs. It is very much to be expected in the world of SC. Right. Let's just not worry too much about even scanning at this point. Chances are he'll be alright. But you know what? 4 SCU, still more than a box mission. Sorry, Ravnak. Just had to get that one in. Yeah, I hope, I'm hoping that Star Citizen manages to tread that line, because like I understand why the people who love Sims, you know, are enjoying it too, and I'm just hoping we can find that line between like having the room for people who really want a sim out of it, and having the room for people like me who just want a game, like, you know, and aren't too worried about a from an immersion. Well, no, it's not immersion. It's not immersion, but it's sim. It's like I don't want to have to like basically go to school to learn to fly a ship in Star Citizen. Like, I wanna just be able to fly. So, but I think what could be cool, and it's maybe like gonna touch in with like the stuff they're talking about with engineering gameplay. Like maybe, you know, people who are really active, like you already see it a bit with like the power triangle management and stuff. Like if you're really active in sort of adjusting and fine-tuning all of your controls and stuff, maybe you can just get a better result than people who are lazy, like and don't want any of that and want to just operate off quick buttons and all that sort of stuff. And right, I think as we get our second measly load of Quantanium in, that we're hitting about the time that my wife is going to get home. We're hitting about the limit of Krug's patience. I'm pretty sure he wants me to play with him. So with those two factors in mind, considering I won't be heading out for another mining run, I think there's the right time to call it. And also while I went to go and fetch Krug, I did find out that I must have had a little power cut. Like one of the electricity grids in my house is down. So I think you're just on the way, Me Lions. I think that's it. So they delivered to you first. You got prio. People talk about streamer privilege. Don't know what they're talking about. Righto. And my rider's nearby, so we've got a factor of 3. So yeah, wife's coming home. Dog requires playing with. Sushi is about to arrive. So with that said, thank you very much for joining me and hanging out this evening. I'm looking to do this a little bit more. I think it's just a case of practice. Practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes better. And yeah, I will feel free to hit those links to join Discord if you haven't already. Come and hang out, and I will catch you all soon. Thanks very much.